Hello everyone, and welcome. In today's CQ Barber 106B practice questions and review practice session, we'll go through 54 updated questions designed to help you prepare for the exam. When each question appears, pause the video first. Choose the answer you believe is correct, then comment your answer below before resuming the video to see the correct answer. Keep track of your score as you move through the questions, and let's get started. Flashcard 1. What can be used to refine or blend in areas where density or growth patterns require additional blending? In notching, B. Outlining, C. Cutting with the grain, D. Cutting against the grain. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is notching. Flashcard 2. Electric clippers have one of three general types of motors, which include all of the following motors except a pivot, B. Rotary, C. Magnetic, D. Convectional. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is convectional. Flashcard 3. In a tapered cut or fade, shade is the area found in a nape area, B. Hairline area, C. Side and exterior areas, D. Interior and top lengths. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is side and exterior areas. Flashcard 4. Shade components are more likely to be cut using what kind of techniques? A. On-scalp techniques, B. Off-scalp techniques, C. Cross-scalp techniques, D. Down-scalp techniques. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is on-scalp techniques. Flashcard 5. All of the following statements describe why shear-over comb techniques are used except a. Cut straight to curly textures, B. Create blunt looks for female clients, C. Create gradation in various types of tapered shapes, D. Produce a softer edge than a clipper-over comb technique. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is create blunt looks for female clients. Flashcard 6. Clipper guards are sometimes referred to as A. Brush attachments, B. Comb attachments, C. Blade attachments, D. Magnetic attachments. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is comb attachments. Flashcard 7. Coarse texture hair should be texturized at least a 1/4 1.25 centimeters from the scalp, B. 1/2 1.25 centimeters from the scalp, C. 1 2.5 centimeters away from the scalp, D. 1 1/2 3.75 centimeters away from the scalp. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is 1 1/2 3.75 centimeters away from the scalp. Flashcard 8. What is the difference between a bald fade and a skin fade? A. No hair remains with a skin fade, B. No hair remains with a bald fade, C. Skin fade is achieved with an electric shaver, D. Bald fade is achieved with a straight razor. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is no hair remains with a skin fade. Flashcard 9. All of the following directions are most commonly used in a fade except a curved, B. Diagonal, C. Vertical, D. Horizontal. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is vertical. Flashcard 10. Which of the following steps would occur first during a fade procedure? A. Position head as either upright, tilted or forward, B. Position comb according to intended line of inclination, C. Cut zones with progressions of clipper guards and settings, D. Analyze hair texture, density, recessed areas and growth patterns. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is analyze hair texture, density, recessed areas and growth patterns. Flashcard 11. When point cutting, the amount of end tapering depends on finger position and the number of A. Strokes being used, B. Hair strands being cut, C. Number of tools being used, D. Inches of hair being removed. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is strokes being used. Flashcard 12. Within the interior of a haircut, barbers combine forms to create various shapes such as square, angular, and slash or a diamond, B triangular, C rectangular, D curvilinear. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is curvilinear. Flashcard 13. Razor etching creates a zigzag pattern, B strong blunt lines, C highly tapered lengths, D lightly tapered lengths. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is highly tapered ends. Flashcard 14. All of the following statements are true about a tapered cut except A has visible weight lines, B has no visible weight lines, C creates interior movement and greater styling flexibility, D allows men to wear longer lengths and still appear well groomed. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is has visible weight lines. Flashcard 15. Which comb has a thinner spine that allows you to get close to the scalp for shorter lengths in gradation? A flat comb, B taper comb, C cutting comb, D large cutting comb. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is taper comb. Flashcard 16. Why is clipper oil applied to the clipper and trimmer blades and movable parts after each cut? A to prevent the teeth from dulling, B to cool the clipper during and after use, C to clean the clipper and trimmer blades, D to disinfect the clipper and trimmer blades. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is to prevent the teeth from dulling. Flashcard 17. When the line of inclination is very close to the head, it is called a low gradation, B high gradation, C heavy gradation, D medium gradation. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is high gradation. Flashcard 18. Placement of shade effects in the area above the temple peak point, through and above the crest would be referred to as high gradation or a low fade, B high fade, C medium fade, D medium gradation. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is high fade. Flashcard 19. Which term is based on a drawing or etching technique which uses intersecting sets of parallel lines to create the illusion of light and shade? A. C stroke, B notching, C outlining, D cross-hatching. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is cross-hatching. Flashcard 20. Which technique is performed at the midstrand and ends to reduce bulk and allow the hair to lie closer to the head? A razor etching, B point cutting, C contour tapering, D expansion tapering. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is contour tapering. Flashcard 21. A well-blended cut that positions the shortest lengths at the nape and side perimeter hairline and gets progressively longer toward the crown and top of the head is called a N, a fade, B taper, C block, D outline. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is taper. Flashcard 22. The T-shaped trimmer blade is a versatile, common choice for graphics, B used for cleaning facial hair close to the skin, C considered best for tapering along perimeters, D considered best for detailing and creating clean hairlines. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is a versatile, common choice for graphics. Flashcard 23. Which description matches the image? A long hair contrasts with shorter temples and sideburns, B shorter perimeter smoothly transitions to short, uniform beard lengths, C faded haircut perimeter with beard transitioning from narrow, defined diagonal line at cheek, D faded perimeter transitions smoothly into long beard with reverse fade, fading upward from beard to skin. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is not D. Flashcard 24. Form or shape components are more likely to be cut using what kind of techniques? A. On scalp techniques. B. Off scalp techniques. C. Down scalp techniques. D. Cross scalp techniques. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is off scalp techniques. Flashcard 25. What does SPM stand for in relation to clippers? A. Speed per minute. B. Strokes per minute. C. Specialty per motor. D. Safety powered motor. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is strokes per minute. Flashcard 26. If a barber wants to create a clean, blunt edge or line when cutting hair, which of the following tools would be recommended? A. Shears. B. Clippers. C. Taper shears. D. Electric shaver. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is shears. Flashcard 27. An area that defines a progression of lengths and the amount of transparency achieved is called a part. B. Zone. C. Space. D. Panel. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is zone. Flashcard 28. Shorter tapered exteriors, tapered sideburns and napes are most often cut with A. Blunt lines. B. Freehand. C. Strokes. C. Overcomb techniques. D. Cross-hatching techniques. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is overcomb techniques. Flashcard 29. Where is the clipper overcomb usually performed? A. On the perimeter hairline of the haircut. B. On straighter textures with longer interior lengths. C. On straight to curly textures with shorter interior lengths. D. On curly to tightly curled textures with very short top lengths. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is on straight to curly textures with shorter interior lengths. Flashcard 30. Outlining in front, around and then behind the ear is referred to as A. Shaving. B. Arching. C. Freehanding. D. C. Stroking. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is arching. Flashcard 31. Which of the following steps would occur last during a tapered cut procedure? A. Texturize as appropriate. B. Cross-check for accuracy. Balance. C. Part to separate and control the hair. D. Change cutting direction to accommodate growth patterns. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is cross-check for accuracy. Balance. Flashcard 32. What anatomical reference is often used for a fade haircut? A. Nape area. B. Crest area. C. Occipital area. D. Temple or peak point. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is temple or peak point. Flashcard 33. During a fade procedure, at what point does the transition from faded lengths move to interior lengths? A. At the crown. B. Below the nape. C. At the crest area. D. At the front hairline. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is at the crest area. Flashcard 34. Which tapered cut is often considered the classic taper? A. No taper cut. B. Low tapered cut. C. Mid tapered cut. D. High tapered cut. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is mid tapered cut. Flashcard 35. Which of the following clippers are recommended for all over cutting as well as taper cutting? A. Fading clippers. B. Balding clippers. C. Tapering clippers. D. Specialty clippers. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is tapering clippers. Flashcard 36. A technique performed by gliding the open shears along the surface of the hair is A. Slicing. B. Notching. C. Point cutting. D. Slide cutting. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is slicing. Flashcard 37. Texturizing at the base of the hair strand up to 2.5 centimeters away from the scalp creates A. Less volume. B. More weight. C. More closeness. D. Expansion and fullness. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is expansion and fullness. Flashguard 38. A very short version of graduation, in which lengths increase from shortest along the hairline to longer toward the interior, is known as a buzzing B tapering C gradation D graduating. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is graduating. Flashguard 39. Which of the following descriptions identifies medium gradation? A. The line of inclination is very close to the head. B. The line of inclination moves toward the front of the head. C. The line of inclination quickly moves away from the head. D. The line of inclination moves closer to the head as the amount of gradation increases. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the line of inclination moves closer to the head as the amount of gradation increases. Flashguard 40. Shears are opened and closed rhythmically while sliding blades upward from the ends when using which of the following techniques? A. Notching. B. Slithering. C. Slide cutting. D. Point cutting. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is slithering. Flashguard 41. What is the control factor of clippers? A. The blade size. B. The blade speed. C. The length of hair being cut. D. The torque or power output. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the torque or power output. Flashguard 42. Where does cutting begin when performing gradation techniques? A. In the nape. B. In the crown. C. In front of the ear. D. At the front hairline. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is in front of the ear. Flashguard 43. Which motor type is recommended for all textures of hair? A. Pivot. B. Rotary. C. Magnetic. D. Vibratory. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is rotary. Flashguard 44. What is a drawback of a blunt outline? A. Neckline will appear trimmed and proper. B. Neckline outline will appear neat and clean. C. Neckline will appear blocked with a hard line. D. The neckline will appear unkempt as the hair grows out. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the neckline will appear unkempt as the hair grows out. Flashguard 45. Texturizing techniques can achieve all of the following results except A. Add weight. B. Soften ends. C. Add mobility. D. Add fullness and expansion. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is add weight. Flashguard 46. What do the fine teeth of the comb help achieve? A. Longer lengths of hair. B. Closer, shorter lengths of hair. C. Removal of large areas of hair. D. Refining of dense areas of hair. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is closer, shorter lengths of hair. Flashguard 47. Which clippers have a magnetic motor that cuts faster than clippers with a pivot motor? A. Fading clippers. B. Balding clippers. C. Tapering clippers. D. Specialty clippers. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is balding clippers. Flashguard 48. Which comb is used to remove lengths within larger areas when working with clippers or shears? A. Taper comb. B. Flat top comb. C. Cutting comb. D. Large cutting comb. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is flat top comb. Flashguard 49. Magnetic motors are also known as A. Rotary motors. B. Circular motors. C. Universal motors. D. Vibratory motors. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is vibratory motors. Flashguard 50. When performing a shear over comb technique, what does the comb position help reflect? A. The length of the hair. B. The density of the hair. C. The texture of the hair. D. The intended line of inclination. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is the intended line of inclination. Flashcard 51. Low fades generally extend from above peak point to crest in the back. B. Below the peak point to below the occipital. C. Above the peak point to above the occipital. D. The peak point to the occipital or slightly above. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is below the peak point to below the occipital. Flashcard 52. In tapered cuts with gradation, form and shade proportions are determined by various factors including the density of the client's hair and a line of inclination. B. Color of client's hair. C. Porosity of the client's hair. D. Elasticity of the client's hair. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is line of inclination. Flashcard 53. Which fade cut generally extends from above the peak point to the crest in the back? A. No fade. B. Low fade. C. Mid fade. D. High fade. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is high fade. Flashcard 54. Creating a transition above the parietal ridge or upper crest results in a less shade around the head. B. More shade around the head. C. More shape within the cut. D. No shade around the head. Pause and think of the answer before the reveal. The answer is more shade around the head.